Oh, how the seasons change and the North remembers. You think by year 7 in anything you'd be okay, maybe even seasoned, but as a sunny girl, I thought by now, after all this time in New York, I'd have a better handle of the season changes. Turns out, uh, it's not something you can fix with a simple Alexa, how do I not have seasonal depression?
From BetterHelp.com.
Alexa, stop. I knew there was a risk with me saying that line in here. Only if it were that easy, it would have been handled long ago. This moment feels different though. This is the first time for me actually talking through a depressive episode while I'm in it. It's kind of like I'm cleaning up in the middle of a hurricane and I'm like right in the eye of the storm. But somehow I feel a little ease because I've chosen to. Because recently I got a small charge of something that reminded me that I could. Seasons come and seasons go, but depression, you will not conquer me. You can call it manifesting, you could call it rebuking. I will just simply call it faith. This episode isn't really for me. It is sparked by a conversation that I had this past week with my niece. So, in a way, it's dedicated to her. And I know I told you not to listen to my podcast, MK, but I'm pretty sure you will. So, whenever you do, I'd like to personally welcome you to Gems to Jewels podcast. It is hosted by me, your Auntie Denden, your current sad girl, but victory goalie. MK, I hope whenever you listen, you know that life is really a roller coaster and I'm doing my best to not just be your fun, trendy aunt, but an honest one. A woman who's learning to exist with integrity, love, and authenticity. 6, 7. I probably didn't say that right, but you get it. We're gonna get through this as we always do, through Carat, Cut, and Clarity. This isn't just a framework, it's a way of turning pressure into power. It's a ride that may dip and twist, but it always leads towards the light. So let's start with the carrot and get honest about the weight we've been carrying it and how it's been shaping us for greater glory. I feel the weight in this carrot is too early to determine, but what I do know is if my depression were a gem, it would definitely be the black obsidian. It starts small, just like a cool stone sitting quietly in my spirit, but over time it grows heavier, denser, pulling me inward. There's something about it too, almost comforting in the way it wraps around me, like a silence that feels safe at first, but that same warmth turns isolating. It's the kind of gem that absorbs everything: light, sound, emotion, until I can't tell if I'm just existing. Obsidian is formed from volcanic fire that cools too quickly. And that's exactly how my depression feels sometimes. Like everything in me erupted, then froze before I could make sense of it. Yet even obsidian has purpose. It's a grounding stone. It forces reflection. It doesn't sparkle, but it reveals. It's what holds when you're ready to face the truth beneath the surface. I know my first winter here was a real eye opener for me on so many levels. The weather was colder than anything I've ever known, but it was the darkness that really got to me. Waking up with no sun, leaving work with no sun, it spun me in a actual whirlwind, and I didn't see it coming. I never realized really like how much of my life, my mood, my energy revolved around the sun until it was gone. Back home in Miami, the light felt like love. It was constant, familiar, affirming. But here, the absence of it revealed something in me I hadn't faced. Sometimes my Carat in winter doesn't even get the full scope because the depth of that darkness runs so deep, it's hard to measure. But when I do feel it, when I recognize the weight of what I'm carrying, it can make me shiver from the sheer impact of that pressure. That's what this season feels like: heavy, still, and strangely alive all at once. Like black obsidian, smooth, reflective, formed under heat and cooled too fast. It's a reminder that even in the dark, there's something sacred forming, something solid, something valuable. For some of us, we've learned to navigate our emotions by numbing or disassociating or being delusional, finding comfort in the distractions that keep us from feeling. But if I'm quite honest, like I am, and transparent, this season, I don't have those. I don't have weed. I don't have lust. I'm not outside all the time pretending I'm okay. This season, I have time and focus to feel every wave that hits, every rise, every dip, every quiet moment that asks me to sit still and listen. And that is where we move into the cut. The cut is where things get uncomfortable. It's where the edges of who I was start meeting the sharp truth of who I'm becoming. This season, without the distractions, I've had to sit face to face with myself with no filters, no vices, no quick escapes, just me and my emotions and God, quietly working in the background. The cut is not punishment, it's precision. It's where God takes what's been formed under pressure and starts shaping it with intention. And I'll be honest, a lot of the time it hurts, it aches. It's an ache that lives between surrender and resistance. Um, the part of me that wants healing, but I can't lie. I want healing, but I still miss the comfort of my coping. There are days I feel like he's chiseling me too deep and taking pieces I thought I needed. My confidence, my rhythm, my fire. But maybe what's really being cut away is my dependence on what kept me numb. Maybe he's trimming away the illusions I built around my survival. And I'm going to keep it a buck. Uh, this cut hurts. It's the coping, the part of me that would rather turn off my phone and not eat and cry under my heavy ass duvet. It's my way of slowly suffocating and choosing silence instead of surrender. But unlike now, this time feels different. Um, Rather than taking the route, I'm learning to manage the waves, to still wake up, to keep my skin routine, to pick up the phone, to show up to small groups even when I don't feel like it, because that's the part of the refining too. Choosing to speak through it, to live through it, and to heal in community. Because when you stop running, you start to feel and start feeling, even you start seeing who you are when the noise fades, seeing that strength isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it's just showing up when my spirit feels silent. And truthfully, I haven't fully made it through this cut, um, because this gem, this version of me, introduced itself differently this time. It's not like before. The process feels deeper, slower, but also more grounded. And a part of me going through the cycle of learning my identity and solidifying my foundation, I have a better understanding of who I am. I can admit truthfully, like, I have a foundation in my identity and I've made a leap in faith, and that's changed how I fight my battles. So now when the thoughts come for me in attack mode, I can navigate them with God and not against myself. And as cliche as it sounds, this week has felt like an uphill battle. But every single time I've tried to isolate, someone has shown up to encourage me, to check in on me, to remind me that I'm not facing this alone. And maybe that is what grace looks like in this season. Being met with love right when you're trying to disappear. And as shaky as I feel sometimes, every moment I've tried to literally pull myself in, someone has pulled me out. Even in the sadness, I find my voice. I pray in whispers that feel too small for the weight that I carry. I cry in the quiet corners of my room, tears marking the edges of what words I cannot hold. I speak out what I feel. As shaky it is, it's raw and unfinished. Letting it breathe, letting it live, and letting God meet me there. And somehow, in the middle of all of it, there's a rhythm, a reminder that even in despair, I am moving, I am present, and I am not lost. Clarity, the light that finds you. Clarity doesn't always come with a sunrise, sometimes it comes with a whisper. And fortunate for me, they are these very soft whispers. They're not loud, they're not perfect, but it's steady. For me, clarity has been showing up in small, sacred ways. Through the people who call to just check in, the random text that hits at the exact right time, or that still moment when I feel peace wrapped around me for no reason at all. I used to think that clarity meant understanding why things happen to me. And now I'm learning it's more about trusting who's with me while they're happening. It's realizing that even when the light feels faint, it's never gone. It's just learning to reach me in new ways. And here's the truth. I feel like a lot of it is all true, or it is all true. But my clarity hasn't and doesn't come in isolation. I'm learning that I am not built to come to conclusions alone. And when I try to process everything in my own head, I end up recycling the same thoughts, turning them into stories that sound like truth, but are really just lies I repeated too long. Inviting my community into the conversation helps interrupt that cycle. When I let people in, when I let them speak truth and love and perspective, they remind me of what's real. They help me challenge the lie that says I have to figure it out all by myself. They even help me to still put out this episode when I may not have the full desire to. Because clarity that's rooted in isolation isn't clarity at all. It's just a quiet echo of fear. True clarity comes when love interrupts your loneliness, when someone sits with you long enough to help you see light where you saw none. This clarity reminds me that the weight of the carrot and the pain of the cut were never wasted. They were both working together to uncover something, the truth that I am not alone, not forgotten, and not defined by the dark. Y'all, God has been teaching me that even in depression, there is divine detail, a quiet crafting that happens in the unseen. And when I pause long enough to notice, I can see how He's been faithful to me through every wave. So, this clarity is not about perfection. It's not about presence. It's about learning to let love live again and trusting that even in this season, the gem in me still shines, just softer, but somehow more true. This season, clarity looks like connection. It looks like answering the call when someone checks in, like showing up even when my spirit feels quiet, and letting love hold me in the places my own strength can't. This is just a season, and like all seasons, it will pass. The wind may still shake the flame, but I'm no longer afraid of my candle being blown out. Because even when it flickers, I know I'm not in the dark. There was a time where I would have reached for distractions of weed, of lust, of being outside, anything to keep me from feeling the full weight of what's inside. But now I have space to feel it, to face it, and to heal it. I still have moments where the wound feels warm, where the ache almost feels like comfort, and I'm tempted to return to what's held me hostage. But I'm learning that warmth doesn't always mean safety. And healing doesn't have to happen in isolation. I have community now, people I confide in, people I trust, people who hold me when I can't hold myself. I have prayer that steadies me. I have love that reminds me. And most importantly, I have God who continues to show me that endurance isn't just surviving, it's staying soft through the storm. So even as I walk through this cut, I know clarity is still forming. The gem is still being refined. And though this moment feels fragile, it's sacred. But I am being shaped by hands that know exactly what they are doing. This is just a season, and I'm still shining through it. And I wrote this episode to, particularly for my niece to listen to at some point, because I figure you maybe listen to my episodes, and I told you I don't want you listening to my episodes because honestly I feel like they're like very cathartic and very heavy for you to be listening to, MK. But when you called me recently and checked in on me and asked me what was wrong with me, and I explained to you how I was feeling sad, I didn't feel embarrassed or ashamed to tell you that I was feeling sad. And I didn't break down on the phone, but I broke down later because I just never had, aunts or uncles or like godparents who were honest with me to tell them how they were feeling as adults. So, MK, I really hope you don't think any less of me to say that I'm sad. It's just, your auntie is not happy right now, but I'll be happy again. And MK, if you're listening, I know faith may not make full sense to you right now, and that's okay. Life has a way of introducing us to God in seasons we never planned for. This isn't just my story, it's a reflection of what I hope you'll always know. That even when things feel heavy or unclear, you are never too far gone, never too late, and never too hard for God to reach. My prayer for you and for me is that our seasons keep being redeemed, that every dark winter, every silent night turns into proof of how faithful He is. I pray that when life starts to test you, when you find yourself in the middle of your own storm, you remember this moment and know that your auntie already prayed over your future. I pray you always have people around you who see you, who remind you of who you are when you forget, and that one day you'll feel the peace that only God can give you. Not forced, not borrowed, but real. Settling deep in your heart like home. And even if you don't fully believe yet, know that my belief is big enough to cover yours until yours grows. That every prayer I whisper in His name is also for you, MK. For your joy, for your protection, and for your purpose. Because the same God who's redeeming my seasons is already preparing the way for yours. So, my gem MK, may you never forget how loved you are, how seen you are, and how covered you've always been. In Jesus' name, amen. You've been listening to Gems to Jewels. And as this cold season settles in, I pray you don't rush it. Just breathe through it, y'all. Because the cold won't last forever, even now, beneath the frost, something new is taking root. So if your hands feel tired or your spirit feels quiet, remember, warmth always finds its way back. The light is still learning how to find you. And when it does, you'll see that even in this season was working for your good. I'm your host, Auntie Denden, and I'm walking this journey right alongside you. Until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and know this: the cold might come first, but the warmth is already on the way. Peace.